At first I wanted to talk about all 3 seasons of Timon and Pumbaa in one video, but then I realized that every season has more than 20 episodes in it, and each episode includes 2 segments, so yeah, combined it has kind of 170 episodes, and that is too much. So I will cover the Timon and Pumbaa series in 3 videos, 1 video for each season. And yeah, that's it, let's start. Boara Boara. Timon and Pumbaa are at the beach. Pumbaa gets kidnapped by the locals. While Timon is looking for him, the leader of the tribe mistakes Pumbaa as some sort of an ancient god, so they crown him a king. When Timon finds Pumbaa, Timon is mad at Pumbaa for having him worried sick. The locals are displeased with Timon, so they make him Pumbaa's servant. Later, some sort of an ancient fire of the tribe is put out, so they want Pumbaa to restore it. Pumbaa fails, and the locals realize that Pumbaa is no one important, so they attack them, but Timon and Pumbaa defeat them by the power of Samba! I'm not the biggest fan of this episode, because Pumbaa was kinda mean. I could say that because Pumbaa is dumb and doesn't realize it, or maybe he is just acting so that the locals won't hurt them, but
I don't know how long I can keep this up. We gotta get out of here.
We can't leave, not yet.
Why not?
You haven't done my other hoof.
so yeah, not a great first episode. Saskatchewan Catch. Timon is trying to catch a bug from a tall tree, but a male flying squirrel interrupts him. Then a female flying squirrel crashes into Timon and they fall down. Timon and Pumbaa ask the female squirrel to catch the bug for them, but she said that she would only do that if they help her to go on a date with the male squirrel. After a few failed plans, they trap the male squirrel and set him on a date with the female squirrel. The flying squirrels fall in love and fly together, and Timon and Pumbaa don't get their bugs. The female squirrel was selfish. They saved her life and did her a favor, and she didn't return the favor for them. But that's fine. As long as Timon and Pumbaa are not mean, I can enjoy the episode. Can you be my friend?
Extra good morning, Timon!
And what's so extra good about it, Pumbaa? What's so darn extra good about this particular morning that you must rudely wake me up?
It's bestest best friend day, so Pumbaa gives Timon a gift. Then he asks Timon for his gift. Timon has forgotten it, so he tries to come up with excuses and then breaks their friendship. He did all of these because he couldn't be honest with his friend. So they try to find a new friend. Pumbaa finds a meerkat that is the exact opposite of Timon, and Timon finds a warthog that is the exact opposite of Pumbaa. After spending time with their new best friend, they realized they can't replace each other and ended up together. This could be the best episode of the show, but the ending of it ruins it. Timon lied to Pumbaa and learned nothing. If at the end Timon told Pumbaa that he has forgotten the bestest best friend day and he promised him that he would never forget it again, it could be a beautiful story about friendship. But the episode undid itself for the sake of a joke. I know it is a comedy show, but it doesn't mean the quality of a story should be sacrificed for comedy. Rafiki Fables. Good Mousekeeping. Oh yeah, the show is called Timon and Pumbaa, but it isn't just about them. Sometimes it focuses on other non-lion Lion King character. Like this episode that Rafiki is in it. And there are also some other episodes that focuses on the hyenas or Zazu instead. In this episode, 3 elephants bully a mouse. That mouse ends up in Rafiki's home. He tells his frustrations to Rafiki, and Rafiki tells him that he can make a wish. The mouse wishes to be big and strong and the ability to fly and swim, so that he would be respected. Rafiki asks him if he is sure about it, because respect doesn't come from power, but the mouse is sure about it. Rafiki makes his wish a reality, and that turns the mouse into an abomination. The mouse is happy at first, but he still doesn't get respect. Then the bully becomes the bully. That's when Rafiki stops him. Later, Rafiki takes the mouse back to the elephants, but the mouse, even with his new powers, was scared of them. Rafiki saves him and agrees to turn the mouse back to its original form. Then the mouse shouts at the elephants and that makes them run away. Brazil nuts. Timon and Pumbaa find a bug restaurant, but it was a trap set by 2 snakes that want to eat them. So Timon and Pumbaa make a plan to set free and get rid of the snakes. South Sea sick. Pumbaa is sick and Timon makes the situation worse by trying to cure him. In this one also, Timon hurts Pumbaa, but this time it was because of his stupidity and not because of selfishness. The lion sleeps tonight. Timon and Pumbaa are wandering in the jungle and singing this song while Simba is trying to scare them as a joke. Never Everglades. A crocodile egg is thrown under Pumbaa, so when he wakes up he thinks that he has laid an egg. Timon tells Pumbaa that it's impossible, but Pumbaa doesn't listen to him. The crocodile hatches at that moment and Pumbaa names him Pumbaa Jr. The entire episode is about Pumbaa trying to raise his son and Timon being angry at them and being a bad example for Pumbaa Jr. At the end of the episode, when Junior isn't around, Timon tells Pumbaa that Junior looks nothing like a warthog, not knowing that Junior was listening to them. So Junior runs away. Timon and Pumbaa search for Junior, but when they find him, they see he has fallen in love with a female crocodile. So they say their goodbyes to Junior and let go of him. I know Junior was annoying Timon, but it does not justify him being mean to others. If Timon was less harsh, it would be one of the better episodes, but here I am putting this episode on the lower half of the list. The Laughing Hyenas, Cooked Goose. This episode is about Shenzi, Banzai and Ed. They are being goofballs, which leads to them and 2 cheetahs to lose their hunts all the time. So the cheetahs try to get rid of them. It takes a few failed plans to finally send the hyenas somewhere far, far away, so they can finally have a full belly. At the end, the hyenas realize that they've been lied to, so they go back to have revenge on them. But both the hyenas and the cheetahs see a white goose and try to catch it. I know the hyenas are comic relief characters, but they are not that dumb. Yukon Con. Pumbaa is digging to find gold while Timon is just chilling. When Pumbaa complains about doing all the work, Timon starts digging another hole and tells him that anything they find is only for themselves and they shouldn't share. That's when Pumbaa finds gold. Then Pumbaa is rich and everyone loves him while Timon is shivering in the cold. Pumbaa is not happy though. He misses Timon. And the main villain of this show, Quint, approaches Timon and Timon agrees to help Quint to rob the gold for themselves. Timon distracts Pumbaa while Quint robs the gold. Later, Timon is regretful and tells Pumbaa that he robbed the gold, but they realize that Quint has run away with the gold. So they go to get the gold back. They fail. When all hope seems to be lost, Timon apologizes and gives a bottle cap that he found during the digging to Pumbaa. Then they hit a submarine. There was a rich man in the submarine who is willing to give a lot of money to add that bottle cap to his collection. That's when Timon and Pumbaa argue each other over who owns the bottle cap. Again, it could have been a wholesome ending, but they ruin it because of a joke. Depth of Africa. A weak and sick tiger tries to hunt Timon and Pumbaa and fails. After running away, they meet the tiger again. The tiger said after the death of her mate, she couldn't hunt like him, and because of that she and her cubs are always hungry. So Pumbaa asks Timon to help him teach her how to hunt. After a few failures, Timon says that people should only help if there is something for them in it. Then he leaves. Then a jackal attacks Pumbaa. Timon takes back what he said and asks the tiger for help. The tiger helps them and learns how to hunt. It took too long for Timon to swallow his pride, but the lesson of helping people in need is good. How to beat the high Costa Rica. In this episode, we see Quint again. He has stolen a briefcase full of money, but that briefcase accidentally replaces Timon and Pumbaa's briefcase. Timon says that they are rich now, but Pumbaa forces him to give it back to Quint. Later, they realize that Quint is a criminal, so after a few failed tries, they succeed to get the briefcase back. Pumbaa tells Timon to give the suitcase to the police, but Timon lies to Pumbaa and buys stuff with all that money. Again, another episode taken down by Pumbaa learning nothing at the end. Swiss Mist.
Hakuna Matata! What a wonderful... You're not going to perform an entire musical number, are you?
The fact that most people are responsible and don't live by the Hakuna Matata philosophy annoys Timon. He realizes that people of the city that they are in work based on the city clock. So Timon talks to the keeper of the clock and he agrees that for the first time in his life, he wants to avoid responsibility and live for himself for a while. But the moment he leaves, the clock breaks down. Quint shows up and tells Timon and Pumbaa that if the keeper of the clock doesn't fix the clock by noon, he would be fired. Timon and Pumbaa go to the keeper of the clock. They see that he is living his life alongside the girl that he has just met and already agreed to marry him. They tell him the clock is broken, so the keeper of the clock approaches the clock of the city as fast as possible. So fast that on the way, he marries the girl in 1 second. Timon and Pumbaa help him to fix the clock and his job is saved. In this one also Timon was selfish, but the lesson of balancing responsibility and living for yourself is a good lesson, so I put this episode high on the list. Russia Hour. Timon and Pumbaa visit Pumbaa's uncle to see his last ballet dance before his retirement. But because of Timon's mistake, he breaks every single bone of his, and now Pumbaa has to replace him. But Pumbaa also breaks his leg just before the performance. Timon tries to do a performance instead, but when he fails, Pumbaa's uncle comes back, and even with his injuries, he does a great performance. Then he literally breaks down. Yukon join the club. Timon and Pumbaa are resting, but a bunch of beavers, all of them named Ted, kick them out. and make a club in that place for anyone with the name Ted. Timon and Pumbaa tell them that their name is also Ted and they want to join the club. But in order to do that, they need to do some made-up tasks that all involve annoying a lion. So at the end, that lion attacks all of them. Uganda be an elephant. Timon saw an elephant and told Pumbaa that they are amazing. Timon does some reverse psychology on Pumbaa to make him want to be an elephant so that they can be popular. Timon does a lot of stuff to make Pumbaa look like an elephant. Later, Timon shows Pumbaa the elephant to another elephant, and that elephant makes fun of Pumbaa. Then the elephant is in danger and Pumbaa saves him. The elephant tells Pumbaa that he can join him as an honorary elephant, but Pumbaa dismisses it because he has learned to love himself for what he is. Timon was indirectly responsible for humiliating Pumbaa, but again I am willing to ignore it because the lesson of loving yourself is also a good lesson. To Kilimanjaro Bird. Timon robs food from a baby, so its mother puts Timon to babysit him as punishment. At first Timon wants to abandon the bird, but Pumbaa insists on being responsible. Then the baby bird is walking through dangerous places and Timon and Pumbaa try to save him. At the end the bird falls down. When the angry mother approaches, the baby bird learns how to fly and flies back to her mother. I think this is the worst episode. Timon has been selfish in the series, but stealing from a baby is a new low for him. Rocky Mountain Lie. Timon thinks that he has eaten Pumbaa's bug friend, so he lies to Pumbaa that a bear has captured him. So they go to find the bug, which leads to disaster, but they are saved by Pumbaa's bug friend, and Timon apologizes to Pumbaa for lying to him. Can You Be My Friend had to learn a few lessons from this episode. Timon can make a mistake, but he can also learn something from it. Amazon Quiver. A panther is chasing Timon and Pumbaa, so they go into a tree and wait for 95 years so that the panther would go away. When they come out of the tree, they are old and the world is futuristic now. The panther was still there though, but he is also old, so he slowly chases them and they slowly run away. French fried. Timon and Pumbaa are trying to eat a snail. When they catch it, they get trapped in a crate. Then they realize that the snail can talk, so they want to become friends with him now. The crate is opened by Quint, and he takes the snail to cook him. And Timon and Pumbaa realize that they are in France now. They try to save the snail. In this episode, the slapstick comedy is dialed up to 11. It's really entertaining, but the ending lowers the satisfaction a little bit. The Laughing Hyenas, Big Top Breakfast.
Hey, that's not bad. What'd he say? I have no idea.
A circus monkey falls down from a plane and lands in front of the hyenas. The entire episode is about the monkey running away from the hyenas and the hyenas being goofs. And at the end, the monkey is sent back to the plane as if nothing has happened. Again, the hyenas were too dumb, but not as dumb as the previous hyenas episode. Madagascar About You.
Mr. Pumbaa is not getting executed, he's getting married.
There's a difference.
Turns out that Pumbaa was better off before even being born, and now he has to get married. So Timon helps Pumbaa to become a horrible and disgusting person so that the female warthog wouldn't want to marry him. But that female warthog was actually into horrible and disgusting people. So they tell her that Pumbaa is actually a nice guy, so the wedding is cancelled. Truth or Zaire? Timon and Pumbaa are running away from Queens when they accidentally get dressed as babies. So a gorilla adopts them. But later Pumbaa feels bad about it, so he tells the truth, and because of that the gorilla chases them. Quint traps the gorilla in order to catch Timon and Pumbaa, but turned out that he just wanted to take a picture of them. After this episode, we see another musical short, and I am not a big fan of this one. Mojave Desserted. Timon and Pumbaa save a bunny, but he is too nice and too dumb, so it annoys them. They pretend to be in danger so that the bunny would save them, and they become even so that they can get rid of him. Beauty and the Wildbeest.
That's not the only problem.
It gets worse.
There's this girl. It gets worse.
There is this very ugly Wildbeest that everyone is scared of, except for a beautiful deer that this Wildbeest loves. She invites him to her birthday party. The ugly Wildbeest visits Rafiki, and Rafiki helps him to look better and become braver. When they reach the birthday party, the ugly Wildbeest learns to be himself. That's when the beautiful deer shows to everyone that she is also ugly, and it was her makeups that made her beautiful. Then the ugly Wildbeest and the not anymore beautiful deer kiss. Even though Timon and Pumbaa weren't in this episode, it's still a candidate for the best episode. It's again about being yourself and loving yourself, but this is better. I guess the only thing wrong with this episode is that I'd rather the deer was actually beautiful, because now she loves the ugly Wildbeest because she is ugly as well. But if she was naturally beautiful, she would be one of my favorite Lion King characters, if you believe it. Because in that case, she would be a really nice person that despite the fact that she is beautiful, she's one of the few people that is nice to an ugly guy and knows that the real beauty comes from inside. But that is more about personal taste, and this episode is still a great episode that tries to teach good stuff. Don't break the china. Timon and Pumbaa find a lost baby panda. They try to take him back to his parents, and shenanigans happen. Can't take a Yolk. The hyenas are trying to steal an egg from an ostrich, and each time they fail in a slapstick way. This one is the more interesting hyena episode. Stand By Me. I like the music and the animation is funny, and that's all I need. The Pain in Spain. Pumbaa is mistaken for a bull, and shenanigans happen because of that. Frantic Atlantic. Timon and Pumbaa become friends with a penguin to go on a cruise, but that penguin is clumsy and ends up accidentally hurting everyone for an entire episode. Unlucky in Lesotho. Ned, the elephant from the Uganda Be an Elephant episode, gives a vase that is an unlucky charm to Timon and tells him that it's a lucky charm, and if he takes care of it for a day, he can join his club. While Timon is trying to take care of it, Pumbaa finds a black baby panther and brings it home. The vase breaks down and Timon blames the black cat for it. Ned wants to tell everyone what an unlucky loser Timon is when the black cat crosses Ned's path, and because of that Ned falls down in a river full of piranha fish. and because of that, Timon starts to like the black cat. Rafiki's Apprentice. Okay, I guess this episode is the most lore-heavy episode of the series. I'm 99% sure this show is not canon, but it was still interesting to see more of Rafiki's magic and how it works. Rafiki's annoying nephew comes for a visit. When he tells Rafiki that he wants to become like him, Rafiki tells him to bring fruits from the trees to his home. The same fruits that are hanging from his staff. Apparently those fruits are the source of his magic. Later, when Rafiki is not looking, his nephew uses Rafiki's staff to make the trees sentient so that the trees would move the fruits themselves. But the last tree starts attacking him. So he uses the staff to make a storm to get rid of the tree. But now the storm is too dangerous, and it broke Rafiki's staff and it took it with itself. That's when Rafiki comes and asks his nephew where his staff is. His nephew said he doesn't know. Rafiki said that it was a very important staff that is inherited from generation to generation. That's when his nephew cries and tells the truth. Then Rafiki opens a door and shows that he had dozens of that staff. So he lied about the staff. I wonder if everything he said in this episode was a lie. Then Rafiki does his magic and ends the disaster. Then he finds his broken staff and gifts it to his nephew because it's smaller now and more suitable for him. Then he tells his nephew that he took too many fruits and now he has to return some of it back to the trees. And this time his nephew has learned his lesson and doesn't use magic to do it. Tanzania Zany. Timon's old friend shows up. At first he is hanging out more with Pumbaa and Timon is having a bad time. When Timon's old friend wants to pull a painful prank on Timon, that's when Pumbaa doesn't want to hang out with him anymore. Then Timon's old friend approaches Timon and asks him to pull a painful prank on Pumbaa. At first Timon agrees, but then he changes his mind and stays loyal to Pumbaa. This episode is about treating your friends well and avoiding toxic friendships, and that is a good thing. Guatemala Malarkey. Timon and Pumbaa find the temple. Timon said it's full of treasure, but Pumbaa said it's cursed. And in the entire episode, they are in danger. Pumbaa saves Timon from all sorts of danger, and Timon doesn't realize it, and he is just mean to Pumbaa. Mombasa-In-Law.
I do my best, but nothing is good enough for your mother. And you leave everything lying about the house just expecting me to pick up after you. Well, I'm sick of it, and I deserve a little more appreciation.
Timon's mother is coming for a visit. In order to make her believe that he is the responsible person, he builds a house and pretends to have a job, and asks Pumbaa to dress up as a woman and pretend to be his wife. It works at first, but then Pumbaa has to dress up as many more people to keep their secret. Of course it doesn't work, and Timon's mother realizes that they have been lying to her. But the last minute, turns out that Timon's mother was actually Timon's old friend in disguise. It is overall a good episode, but it repeats jokes a lot. An armadillo is the star of a wildlife show, and because of that he gets to eat anything he wants, while the hyenas look at him with jealousy. They try to join the show, but the director rejected them. Then the armadillo leaves the director, and the hyenas take the director's place, and they will have the director as lunch. Also here it gets confirmed that Shenzi and Banzai are in fact in a relationship. Back out in the outback, Timon and Pumbaa go to Australia to hunt some bugs. Pumbaa wants to do it together, but Timon insists on turning it into a competition. Pumbaa agrees. Pumbaa is hunting as many bugs as possible, but Timon is greedy and wants to catch the biggest bug. Timon mistakes a crab as a giant bug, and the entire episode is about Timon failing to catch that crab. At the end, it turns out that Pumbaa got help from that crab to hunt bugs, and Timon runs away. Timon was too ignorant in this episode, but unlike the previous episodes, it didn't lead to him annoying Pumbaa, so I'm fine with it, I guess. Gabbon with the wind. Two cheetahs catch Timon and wants to eat him. Timon tells them if they free him, he will get Pumbaa for them, not knowing that Pumbaa heard it while he was trying to save him. They let Timon go, but they take his wallet to make sure he comes back. And the rest of the episode is about Timon and Pumbaa hunting each other. At the end, Timon tells Pumbaa that he just said those things to escape. Then they defeat the cheetahs. If Timon really said those stuff to run away, then it's fine. But then why was he trying to hunt Pumbaa down? Is his wallet really more important? Timon's time to go. In this episode, Timon gets poisoned and dies. Then he goes to the afterlife. There, an angel tells him that he did nothing good in his life, so he is going to hell. Timon asks for a second chance, so the angel tells him that he can go back and do one good thing so that he can go to the heaven. When Timon is alive again, he realizes that if he does one good thing, he will die in order to go to heaven. So he won't do anything good. Until the end of the episode that he saves Pumbaa's life. So he dies and goes to heaven. But he becomes alive again because he realizes that he wasn't poisoned at all. You may say this is just another episode that ends with a joke, but I think this episode has a deep meaning that makes this the best episode of the show. Some people say we all need two lives. One life to learn how to live from it, and another life to live correctly. They believe when they die, if they are given another chance, they will change their ways and become a better person. In some stories centered around religious stuff and things related to life after death, it is said that this idea is wrong. When they are given a second chance, they will probably stay the same person because they think they still have a long time remaining, so they start procrastinating until their time comes again and they will die as the same bad person as they were. Every single day that we wake up, we are given another chance. Every day that we live, we have the chance to become a better person. We are not given the second chance. We have been given the 1000th chance, but we still refuse to be better. Maybe I am thinking too much about the dumb show, but this episode makes me think about my life, and because of that, it is my favorite episode. The Law of the Jungle. Timon scratches his back with a forbidden stick, so he is taken to the court. And for an entire episode, Timon is mentally and physically tortured for it. I know Timon is selfish sometimes, but making him suffer for an entire episode is not funny. Manhattan Mishap. Timon and Pumbaa want to go to New York, but they end up in an island with a hungry and mad man. He wants to eat them, but they tell him if he doesn't eat them, they will fix his plane so that he could escape the island. After a few failures, they get him off the island, but now they are stuck. But at the end, the camera zooms out and shows that they are just in a small island in the middle of a big lake in a city, and they don't know that. The interesting thing is that in this episode, Timon was the dumb one and Pumbaa was the smarter one. And that ending caught me off guard, not gonna lie. Paraguay Parable. An anteater tells Pumbaa that he is a better bug catcher than Timon. When they argue, he tells them to do a competition to see who is better. It is all an act of manipulation from the anteater so that he could eat their bugs. When he does that, they realize that they have been manipulated, so they take back the bugs and become friends again. Be more Pacific. Pumbaa saves a magic whale, and that whale tells Pumbaa that he can make 3 wishes. Pumbaa doesn't have any wishes, but Timon does. But each wish brings a trouble for them. Going your go away. Timon and Pumbaa escort a king termite to his kingdom so that they could eat him and his people. But when they see he has a family, they change their minds. Let's Serengeti out of here. A weirdo captures a lot of animals, including Timon and Pumbaa, and puts them in a zoo because he thinks they are endangered species. After staying there for 28 years, they get bored and run away from that place. At first it looks like a generic slapstick episode, but it actually tells a dark fact about zoos. Some animals are trapped in zoos either because they are endangered species, which at least has a good intention, or just because of our amusement, which shows the horrible sides of us humans. Zoo is a prison in which all the prisoners are innocent. You may say they have food and water, but that is not enough. Maybe physically they are fun, but mentally they are not. Animals may not be 100% sentient, but that doesn't mean that they are safe from mental problems. That doesn't mean that they don't need freedom. I have heard stories about animals of the zoos developing mental problems because of not being in where they belong. And this episode reminds me of those stories. This episode also makes me think more about ourselves, and because of that, this is also a great episode. It entertains, but it also makes you think. Can't go on like this. This one happens when adult Simba was living with Timon and Pumbaa. A little animal sees the bones of a wild beast and tells Timon and Pumbaa that Simba might be the one that ate it. Pumbaa doesn't believe it because it's in the time that Simba used to eat bugs only. But Timon being Timon, of course he has to be paranoid. He does a few tests on Simba, but Timon twists those tests in a way that even though Simba does not want to eat them, the result tells him that Simba wants meat. So Timon and Pumbaa join that little animal and run away to a cave. But that little animal is actually a wolf in disguise. Simba comes and saves them, and Timon learns to trust his friends. Simba's inclusion puts this episode higher on the list. Okay, Bayou. Timon and Pumbaa are traveling with an opossum to learn bravery and find an infinite source of bugs. Shaker the Djibouti. A wild animal escapes from the zoo, and because of that Timon and Pumbaa are paranoid. So they want to train Simba to become a better protector. I assume all the episode that has adult Simba in it happened before he met Nala. Simba isn't taking his training serious though. When Timon tells Simba to pounce on Pumbaa, he fails, and because of that Timon tells Simba that he stinks as a lion. which hurts Simba's confidence. But when that wild animal, who is a monster, attacks them, Simba strikes back. It seems that Simba has defeated the monster, but he actually talked it out and made peace with him. Yosemite Remedy. Timon and Pumbaa get robbed by a wolf. They can't prove it, so he gets away with it. Timon and Pumbaa try to get even, and at the end, the wolf gets caught for his crimes. Rafiki fables, the sky is calling. A meteor falls between Timon and Pumbaa. Pumbaa wants to send it back to the sky, but Timon wants nothing to do with it, so they are not friends anymore. Rafiki shows up and does some reverse psychology stuff to them so that they would send the meteor back to the sky and restore their friendship. Mozam-Beaked.
Hey, Timon! How did you get down here?
A woodpecker was pecking on a tree, which is annoying Timon and Pumbaa. So they catch him, and when they try to get rid of him, he tells them that he pecked on the tree to reach the bugs in it. So they let go of him and start pecking on the tree alongside him. This is one of the funniest episodes.
As soon as the bird starts splashing gleefully around in the water, it's supposed to...
Cool!
Ocean commotion. Timon and Pumbaa are illegally on a cruise. Captain Quint wants to kick them out, but Speedy, their snail friend from the episode French Fried, tells him that they are with him, so Timon and Pumbaa are safe now. But just like the previous Speedy the Snail episode, he is in danger and Timon and Pumbaa save him. And here we are, end of season 1. For the moment, my season 1 ranking is like this: 53 to Kilimanjaro Bird. Timon dropped a foot from a baby. That one makes it the worst episode. 52, Kenya Be My Friend. Timon lied to Pumbaa about forgetting bestest best day and didn't learn anything. 51, How to Beat the High Costa Rica. Again, Timon didn't learn anything. 50, Russia Hour. Timon was mean to Pumbaa's family. 49, Never Everglades. Timon was mean to Pumbaa's son, but at least he had a reason for it. 48, Boara Boara. Pumbaa was mean in this one. 47, Yukon Con. It was trying to show that money can't end their friendship until the end that they just ruined it and forgot about it. 46, Guatemala Malarkey. Timon was mean to Pumbaa and totally unaware of danger. 45, Truth or Zaire. It's a boring episode. 44, Mojave Desserted. The bunny was too annoying. 43, Cooked Goose. The hyenas were too dumb. 42, Big Top Breakfast. This one relies too much on slapstick. 41, South Sea Sick. Timon hurt Pumbaa with his stupidity. 40, Frantic Atlantic. The penguin was too annoying. 39, The Law of the Jungle. I know Timon is a jerk sometimes, but as I said, torturing him for an entire episode is not funny. 38, Back Out in the Outback. Timon was too ignorant, but at least in this one he didn't hurt Pumbaa. 37, Gabbon with the Wind. I don't know if Timon was smart in this one or just selfish. 36, Okay By You. Mid-episode. 35, Brazil Nuts. Another mid-episode. 34, TV Dinner. Yet another mid-episode. 33. Yosemite Remedy. This one is also kinda mid, but just the fact that the name of the weave is actually weave is kinda funny. 32. Yummy Yummy Yummy. The music is just fine. 31. Unlucky in Lesotho. Above average episode. 30. Don't Break the China. Another above average episode. You're gonna join the club. Yet another above average episode. 28. Good Mousekeeping. Good lesson, but far from the funniest episode. 27. Mombasa-In-Law. Now we have reached the good episodes. This one is funny, but it repeats a few jokes too much. 26. The Pain in Spain. Predictable episode, but it was still funny. 25. Madagascar About You. This one is also predictable, but still funny. But this one had just one moment that made me laugh out loud. 24. Can't Take a Yolk. This is the funniest hyena episode. 23. Ocean Commotion. It's a lesser version of the previous Speedy the Snail episode, but it's still good. 22. The Lion Sleeps Tonight. The music is good and Simba trying to scare Timon and Pumbaa was kinda cute. 21. Going Paraguay. It's good to see Timon apologize for his bad manner. 20. Amazon Quiver. This one is really funny. 19. Rocky Mountain Lie. This is what Kenya Be My Friend should have been. Timon made a mistake, but he apologized at the end of it. 18. Manhattan Mishap. Also really funny, and also that ending caught me off guard. 17. Shake Your Djibouti. Simba's existence helps the show have a little bit more variety. 16. Saskatchewan Catch. Almost a perfect episode, except that last tantrum by Timon was kinda unnecessary. 15. French Fry. A perfect slapstick episode. 14. Paraguay Parable. It's good to see Timon and Pumbaa argue with each other, but become better friends as a result. 13. Be More Pacific. A lot of cartoons do an episode like this, but it's still a good lesson. 12. Rafiki's Apprentice. It's the best Rafiki episode. It's funny, but also has a little bit of lore. 11. Uganda Be an Elephant. Timon was responsible for Pumbaa's humility, but the lesson of loving yourself is good. 10. Depth of Africa. If everyone learned to help someone in need without any benefit, the world would be a better place. 9. The Sky is Calling. It's good to see Timon and Pumbaa bond more after arguments. 8. Swiss Mist. Again, Timon was kinda mean, but it was a good lesson to balance out working and having fun. 7. Tanzania Zany. At first, Timon and Pumbaa were mean to each other, but at the end, they showed true friendship. 6. Congo Unlike This. It's good to see what a good friend Simba is. 5. Stand By Me. I like the music and the animation is funny, and that's all I need. 4. Beauty and the Wildbeest. Real beauty comes from inside. 3. Mozam-Beaked. It's the funniest episode of this season. 2. Let's Serengeti Out of Here. It's good that it doesn't shy away from sending a message. And number 1, Timon's Time to Go. This isn't just a slapstick episode. It tells us to become better people. And there you have it, guys. It was my review and ranking of episodes of season 1. Check out this channel next week when I will talk about season 2 of this show.